And we are live. Hello, everybody who's here, who's joining in already. If you're here, let me know. I'm just going to wait for a few people to pop in and then we can get the show started.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you very much for joining us today. Today's live broadcast. It is so much fun. This is becoming so much fun to do this with you guys regularly. And I've had a couple of live sessions this month, and I see that you guys are liking it. So, anyway, today I'm not going to talk too much. We have a guest who's here to provide valuable information to us in another area. The last time we were all here on live, we had somebody talk to us about applying to Canadian universities, and it was so much fun, so much information shared. So today I have no doubts that it's going to be just as fun, but we're going to be talking about a different topic. So today I am joined by Cheryl Murray from Career Loans, just to have conversations around how you can navigate your career in Canada for newcomers who are looking to land soon or are already here and are at that point where you're trying to ask the question like, where do I go from here? How do I start? What career do I want to chase here? How do I get licensed in my current profession in Canada? Hopefully, we're going to be able to tackle all those questions today. I'm going to pass this over to Cheryl now to do a brief introduction of herself and tell us what do you do, and yeah, we can get a conversation going from there. Over to you, Cheryl.
Thank you. Thank you, Marina. Well, I want to just say how pleased and it's a pleasure to be joining Marina today. This is my first time meeting her, but I've been following her for a while. A little bit about me. I'm the information and financial counselor with a program called Career Loans. We are governed by a broader program, which is called Achieve. So it's career loans. So it's a segment of a program in Achieve. And a little bit about me, I have been doing career counseling, career and work counseling for quite some time, all through Ontario. Right now, we are focusing on Saskatchewan, Alberta. The program is for Saskatchewan, Alberta, and we do the career counseling. We're also part of the FCR program that is funded by the government. And yeah, I've been, my background is in business. So I have changed careers about 3 times in my life. So changing careers and career exploration is not new to me on a personal and a professional level. So I feel well equipped to guide individuals in different directions that they want to go.
That is awesome to know. That's some rich history there. Like if this is something you've been doing, then yeah, well, in the right hands, right? We're going to be getting information that is going to be relevant to everybody here. Okay, so to get this conversation going, Cheryl, because I feel like there's a lot we need to talk about today, and I don't want to spend any
Absolutely.
more time. So first thing, I'm a newcomer to Canada, or I'm going to land in Canada soon, and that question is on everybody's mind. For everybody who's at that stage where you're new or you know that you're going to be landing soon, where is the first place for me to start when it comes to career exploration, when it comes to going back into the career that I've always known or navigating into a new career? Like, what's the first step for that newcomer who's new to Canada and has no idea where to start from? What do you typically tell people like that?
Well, with career exploration, I mean, you're landing in a new country. The thing about it, the first thing to start is getting settled, right? Is getting settled in your environment, is getting settled in your community, getting the lay of the land.
Mhm.
And from experience of working with career loans and dealing with internationally trained newcomers in Saskatchewan, what I learned is the pre-arrival obviously takes precedent in looking at different the career that you're in, finding the organization or the career path that those careers are here in Canada. It's learning about various occupations that your skills and your interests will fit. So the first thing is to learn about your skills, your interests, your values, and how those things are going to satisfy your career path. So as career speaking, those are the things you need to look at. Look at your skills, look at your experience, your education, and then where you have where you have pardon me, where you have build yourself up so far, and then compare it with the occupations here in Canada. And then find a settlement group that will help you progress. So when you're here, the first thing to do is, first of all, settle. Everybody needs to just settle in their community and learn the lay of the land, their community, what's out there for them, get their sea legs. And then you start looking at which path you need to go. You look at what you have to offer, and then look at the careers here or the career directions here in Canada and how they fit in what you want.
Yeah, I totally agree with you about settling. What I find typically happens is, oh no, let me ask the question first. So, do you think that this learning about the skills and understanding where you fit in the career Canadian workplace, do you think that is work that people should do after they have arrived or before?
No, the work starts before.
Okay.
And a smart person would definitely start that process. Doing their research is a big thing, and Google is our best friend. You know, it's doing their research in the organizations that is in their career field here in Canada. Also, doing their networking, finding out who they know. Start from, starting with LinkedIn or something like that, but doing the research from home so they have at least somewhere to start, a starting point when they reach here in Canada.
Well, one of the biggest things that I think newcomers struggle with when it comes to settling is, you know how so I am originally from Nigeria, and
Mhm.
when I landed here, I think one of the shockers for me is the bills that are paid monthly. I'm kind of used to paying maybe bills like rent. I'm kind of used to, we came here with the mindset of we paid rent once a year in Nigeria. That's what's typical. So you pay like the lump sum once and you have a breather, like you have 12 more months to save for the next 12 months, right?
Right.
When people come here and they're hit with that, you have to pay the bills monthly. That becomes like the first barrier to settling, because settling, taking time to know your way around, to know your community, explore different places in the city, that's something I missed. That's something I didn't do when we landed, for the same reason, because you're hit with these realities and you're like, oh my God, I have to hit the ground running. So people don't really spend that much time stepping back to settle. I
Yeah.
really, really wish there's a way around that. But I mean, it's just the reality of what the life of a newcomer to Canada is like. So, speaking a bit about what you mentioned about learning about the different fields and where your skills most closely align. How about the people who were in professions back in their home countries and then they come here and realize that those professions are regulated here? Do you want to speak a bit about regulated and non-regulated occupations?
Absolutely. That is quite interesting. Funny that you said that. I On a general, with me personally, when I move around the city or the country, and relocate or live, one of the first things that I pride myself on is to get to know my area or my community. And I would do that by walking around. So it's funny that you say they don't get an opportunity to see the community. I want to know where the community center is. I want to know where the shopping center is. And it's just like doing little strolls and getting yourself affiliated with everything around. So, that can be something that to keep in mind as newcomers when you're coming in, just to get the lay of the land. But absolutely about the regulated and unregulated jobs, or occupations that are here in Canada. What happens is there's about 20% in Canada, 20% occupations that are regulated. So each in Canada, the government puts a regulated a certain regulation on different professions, and each province or territory are responsible for overseeing their regulated professions. And so the government puts these regulations because occupations that can affect many people. So they have a standard where the individuals who are in these occupation has to have a certain license or certification in order to practice. And those regulated occupation, if it affects the general population, so they're looking at safety, health and safety and public health, right? So those occupations can include, like, healthcare, medical doctors, lawyers, engineers, even education. Those occupations are regulated, and it's just controlling the specific requirements that in order for someone to be practicing it because of the health and safety.
Okay, so what's for me, who's an engineer from my home country, and I want to come here and I want to continue in engineering? Like, what is that? Are you able to speak a bit about what that the journey to getting the license can look like for a newcomer?
Well, with engineers, that's a very broad, because there are definitely, and I can't speak specifically on it, but I can give you a general idea. The idea is, with the regulatory body, they're always looking for character. They're looking for regulations. So the license does take some um, um, it's a process.
It
It's
is.
definitely a process to go through. So once you're coming here, I mean, in every country, there's different regulations for different professions, but because it deals with the community and the environment on a whole, people's safety. So there are regulations for that. And the regulatory bodies, they are adamant about getting into that. So for a newcomer, there is a lot of hurdles that they need to take. It's not impossible, but if you get yourself in the mind frame, and this comes also, Marina, from just the research that we were talking about before you arrive, if you get the lay of the land of what exams you need to take, then you'll be able to plan your way through it. One of the things to even think about is to get the idea of getting your documents accredited. So
Mhm.
then you will be able to. So what accreditation means is that, and I'm jumping over. What accreditation means is that your educational background that you have in your country may not be equivalent to the standard that is in another country. So what we encourage you to do is to remove all the obstacles that you can. And this is from information, from educating yourself. So once your documents are compared to the Canadian standard, you'll be able to make better decisions for what you need to do in the next step.
Mhm. So I know that as part of the immigration process for foreign trained professionals, you are required to evaluate your credentials as part of the immigration process. So does that report from the credential evaluation that you do as part of your immigration process, do you find that that can suffice for the accreditation process with the licensing bodies, or is there like a different evaluation process they have to go through?
Um, it doesn't always suffice, because one of the benefits of getting your accreditation is that your educational document would be recognized, right? Recognized by your peers, recognized by the employers here in Canada, so, and the educational institutions that actually does these. So once you get that process done, it provides not just information to you, but also gives you the regulatory body information about what your skills and experience and expertise is. And so that will help you in what, then you'll have a better understanding of what you need to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
what you need to do. It's all about the information that it provides. If you have a master's degree, for example, and you get that accredited here in Canada, you may just come out with the results of having a 4-year degree here in Canada. So now at this point you have that information as to, okay, so I want to go into say for example the engineer. What else do I need? What is the other requirements that this regulatory body requires me to do? And now I have an idea. Do I want to follow through it? This is where the decision making comes through,
Mhm.
right? Do I want to follow through the next steps that needs to get me licensed and certified as an engineer, or do I want to take an alternative route into something else?
Hmm. And I know so many people who have looked at that accreditation process, the licensing process, like, you know what? Thank you. I'm done. Time to explore something new. So
But
for
it's not
somebody,
a lost cause. It's not a
right?
lost cause because there's other options that you have, and you may even be even more qualified for something in the same industry, but just a different alternative.
So let's talk a little bit about that, Cheryl. That was going to
Yeah.
be my next question. For the person who's in that position where you look at the process and you're like, actually, this is not something that I want to explore at the moment. Like, what are the alternatives? How do we consider and begin to explore those alternative career paths for ourselves?
So we here in Canada, there is actually what happens is you need to start researching and looking at different ways. The first place to start is the labor market. So looking at the labor market index, and that is on the government side as well. It's easily, if you key in your occupation, it can definitely come up if you're looking for the labor market as far as the labor market trends and what are happening. You can also go into a system that the government runs called the NOC, the National Occupation Classification.
Classification. Okay.
Yeah. And so the NOC can also give you different alternative career positions in that industry. And you can then, it gives you a description of all of what is required. And then you can compare what you have to what they have and then make that pivot. It gives you a whole variety in that industry of different occupation. That's a good place to start. I always encourage my clients to start with the labor market trend and also looking at the national occupation classification.
That's very good to know. And I think that's one beautiful thing about Canada is even if you look at the industry and you decide, you know what, I want a completely different industry, you can actually start afresh. You can. I've seen people who do that, who came in one particular field and like, at this point, I really want to consider something completely different. I've been doing this 10, 15 years. I'm ready for something new. And they're able to do again research just to see what do I have to do, what is needed for me to get into this new career path, and they take it on. I've seen a couple of people who made that move when we landed. I've been here a little over 5 years, and now they're settling into the new profession and like, oh my god, I saw this happen, like I saw this from the start. We all thought you were crazy when you were making the move, but now you see them settling in as professionals in the new field. So just knowing that those options and those alternatives are possible, it's a bit of a refreshing. It might take you a longer time to do it, but it is possible. That's the what anybody should take away from the conversation so far. You can get back into the career path that you want. It may take you a longer time, but it is possible.
It is
Yeah.
possible.
And I think a lot of this, the licensing process, the accreditation process is very specific to the industry, right? Some industries, it is a lot harder for you to go through the process. But for some other ones that require a certification, not necessarily regulated, I'll use HR as an example. I am a HR professional, right? HR is not regulated in Canada,
No.
but if you really want to take it all the way, it is advised that you start to consider like professional certifications in human resources, right? And CPHR is the popular one, Chartered Professional in Human Resources. I've
Yes.
reached out to them, like the Saskatchewan chapter recently, just to find out, like, if I really want to get the CPHR designation, what do I need? And it turns out that with the evaluation of my credentials, which applies to, like I was talking about before, that process is a part of the immigration process. If you've already done that as part of your immigration process, all you have to do is just request a new report. You don't have to order transcripts afresh. You don't have to go through that process afresh. You just need to order a copy of the report that would have been on record with the evaluating body that you use, to be sent directly to the CPHR Saskatchewan, and they're fine with that. So again, it comes down to the industry. For some industries, they tell you no, you're going to have to request the transcripts all over again from your school to be sent to them, or to be sent to like
Yes.
a designated evaluating body. So again, that's the place of research. You want to make sure you're reading and checking what is obtainable in the industry that you're in, that you're looking to get regulated in. So that's something for somebody to note. Again, comes back to what Cheryl said. A lot of research is required. I mean, before you get up and move from your country, you should do a lot of reading. It's not, that's too big a journey to do without adequate research, right?
Absolutely. And Marina, I would even add to that, your research never ends, right? It never ends. I mean, even Canadians, if you want to get somewhere, you need to research. And
Mm-hmm.
it is a good habit to have, because it helps you stay focused and it helps you keep you on the path that you want to go,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it
Absolutely.
helps in case you shift, it helps you get back on the path quicker than you normally would.
True. So true. So true. So, Cheryl, let's talk a bit about the challenges and the barriers that newcomers face in these processes. From your experience, providing counseling and providing guidance to professionals who are looking to get back into their careers, what do you find are the typical barriers that newcomers face when they're trying to get through these processes?
Well, the biggest part of it, for most Canadians, maybe not so much for Nigerians, because I know English is your first language.
Mm-hmm.
It may be the language, right? It's the communication. So the challenge there for quite a bit of newcomers, it's just getting used to the language, getting used to their English as a second language to improve on that. The next part could be the credentials, just the process, or knowing that you need to get your credentials recognized here in Canada. And then learning about the regulated and the non-regulated occupations here in Canada. That may be a barrier, because if you're not researching or talking or inquiring about these things, it's hard to find out. And the biggest part of it, like, you're in a new country, it's networking with other people, getting out there. I mean, a lot of it may feel unfamiliar
Mm-hmm.
or uncomfortable, but
Mm-hmm.
it is putting yourself out there to network and to talk, and not just to do it professionally, but to do it also socially. And it's just a lack of the local, and I mentioned this before, the local experience. You talk about paying your rent for a month and then not worrying about it again, and how we do our process here month to month to month. I guess, being Canadian for so long, I wasn't born in Canada, but I'm also an immigrant, but I've been here for all my life. um, it just seems like a natural process. It makes it a little bit more manageable, but learning the local experience. And also, one of the main thing that I want to emphasize is, some of the barriers is that the new Canadians don't know how many free services are out there,
Mm-hmm.
to help and support them. So they need to be a little bit more, again, investigative, be curious, and no, there's a lot of government funded programs that are there, and it's free of charge, and it's only if you, even if it is about finding out information, it helps.
Yeah, it does. So this is advice for everybody who's looking to land in Canada soon, or you've been here 1 year under, or you've been here for however long you've been here. There's so many resources available that I find that newcomers are not taking advantage of. If it's as simple as just going to like a newcomer welcome center, there's so much you can access from there, from like the open door societies, from like the gathering, global gathering places. Those organizations are there to provide the help, to provide the resources, so you don't have to do it yourself. You don't have to grope your way in the dark. If the resources are available, you do yourself a whole lot of good to take advantage of them. Okay. Yeah. So Cheryl, here's one big part, one elephant that's in this room right now that we're about to tackle. So I have been in that position before. I like to use myself as an example because you're talking about things that you're describing a person that was me a couple of years ago, right? And coming here, it was I had trouble finding a job. And then the realization hit me that I had to get additional training. I had to go back to school just to be able to justify what my resume was saying, to say I had the proper training to do the work that I say I've done.
Right.
And then the big barrier of funding. I am new to this country. I'm now paying rent monthly, which is new. And then realizing that you have to go back to school and pay this huge amount of money as tuition. And it's expensive here. Post-secondary education is expensive. Licensing processes are expensive.
Yes.
So how then do I, as a newcomer, what are the options available to me when it comes to funding, in going back to school, in taking these processes? What options do I have?
Well, the government here in Canada, like we were saying in the last skit there is a lot of free programs that are funded here in Canada through the government. And it is to help newcomers settle and adapt where they are right now. So information and referral services are available, and like Marina was saying, Global Gathering Place, Open Door Society, the Welcome Center, those are information and settling services that can help you adapt and actually give you referrals to other programs. Language training is also a funded program that the government sponsors as well, such as IELTS or linked programs that are given through these industry as well, these nonprofit organizations. And employment services are funded by the government as well, which helps people get, the first thought that I know newcomers have is getting a job so they can have income coming in as soon as possible.
Okay.
And so employment services are readily available. So the government funds that as well. And also skills and education development. Those are funded by the government as well. There is the foreign credential recognition program that the government funds for each province. There is a program available. We are a part of that program. Career Loans is a part of that program. So we help fund those internationally trained individuals on how they can get back into their jobs, financially support them. So those are also funded by the government.
Guys, do you hear that? There's a lot. There's so many resources available. I'm just going to look through the chat section to see if we have any questions coming in. Okay. There are a couple of questions that I would maybe let us take at the end, just so we don't deviate from the conversation that we're having. So let's talk about career loans now, where you are. What is career loans? Like what's the benefit for me as a newcomer? Like what do you do for newcomers?
Well, the thing that I just said about the FCR program, there's that foreign trained credential program we have those programs all over the provinces. We are specifically for, this program specifically for Saskatchewan and Alberta. So internationally trained newcomers that are residing in Saskatchewan and Alberta. So what we provide is a career path. So our program comes in two sections where we actually not just look at the employment side of the stream, but we also look at the bigger picture, looking at your career path and supporting those newcomers that are struggling at this time of
Mhm.
how they're going to navigate their career path to their desired career here in Canada. So we talked about those newcomers that may want to continue in the career that they had back home, but they're finding it challenging here. And most of the time, what we find because of that, they fall into a survival job and
Yeah.
then get stuck and
Stock.
then lose momentum, lose motivation. And our goal at Career Loans is basically to provide that structure with our clients and get them motivated again and get them back into the structure of looking on their path and how they're going to navigate where they are right now to where they want to be and how to fill those gaps in between. With that, as we spoke about career exploration, we talk about, we also, the second part of our program is about the FCR program, which is the financial assistant for those individuals that want to maybe get their paperwork accredited, as we spoke about. That is crucial, just to find out where you are and where you want to, what you may need to add to that to get to where you want to be. So we provide a financial microloan for those individuals that request it. It's not mandatory for the program, but we do have a microloan that will support those individuals that want to get develop their licensures or maybe a membership or their accreditation process or even retraining, professional development. So we provide the financial assistance for those individuals that are living in Saskatchewan and Alberta and are permanent residents, Canadian citizens. I know they think Canadian citizen, once you're a Canadian citizen, you don't have access to anything, but our program does provide that support for Canadian citizens as well. Canadian citizens for newcomers and also convention refugees.
Okay. And you mentioning the Canadian citizens kind of made me think like, okay, before you become a citizen, maybe time has passed and you would have found your foot, you would have settled. So just to hear you say it's still available to citizens, and it kind of brings me to this question: like, who qualifies? Who is a newcomer that qualifies for your career loans? I think you just spoke a bit about that, but this second part, can an immigrant still qualify to access loans 15 years after landing and is now a full citizen?
I know that is a very sensitive topic. Here is my quick answer to that. Our guideline is for 10 years and under being in Canada. However, they can access the support program part of it. And if every what I say to my clients is every client is very unique. So I would not say completely no. It all depends on that client and their situation. But to keep in mind, our cutoff is 10 years and below for newcomers. But accessing our career support is open to everyone.
Okay. Cheryl, you did speak a bit about this, but I wanted us to look at this because this question that Monique has left in the comment seems like it's the story of a number of people. So I'm just going to read it real quick. Me
Sure.
and my families are newcomers in Saskatoon. We arrived 3+ months ago. My partner is an experienced IT developer with intermediate level in English who hasn't found a job yet. Employers don't consider him. He tried applying for other types of job, more maintenance related, but he doesn't get responses either. Perhaps he's overqualified. Where can he look for vacancies in Saskatoon? So, do you want to maybe specifically talk about this and talk about what options Monica's partner should consider first, then try exploring jobs again?
Sure, absolutely. And you may be familiar with this too, Marina, because you're in
Absolutely.
HR. The thing about it is, when a newcomer comes to Canada, their resume, and what they don't realize is their resume is the first impression that they're providing to an employer. Now, if they're looking for jobs, say, for example, of a lower level than they're used to, and they have all their accolades and everything on their resume, an employer will not just see them as far as their passion or their anxiousness of getting a job, what they see is that this person is not going to stay with us for very
True.
long,
So true.
right? Because they're overqualified. So one of the things that newcomer comes with is the first thing you need to look at or get support or help with is to revise your resume and to get into the mindset that your resume is never completed. It's constantly evolving, it changes, and you should have several different resumes formatted to the jobs that you want.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going for a lower level job, you need to, for lack of a better word, dumb down your resume,
Yeah.
tone it down, and just highlight the relevant skills or experience that that employer is looking for. And it all comes down to, we have different types of resumes here in Canada, different formats of resume that actually support these kind of different jobs. And so the next step is to, once you use your resume as a lid stick,
Mm-hmm.
it's a testing stick, right? If you're not getting any response from sending out, say for example, you send out 100 resumes. If you, in this day and time, you should get back, I'm maybe exaggerating, maybe 10 calls from that resume. If you're not getting any calls, the resume is not working.
True.
Right? So you need to revise or reboot those resumes, get some help from these employment services that are in your area just to relook at it. And so the next step, once you start getting called, the resume is working. You get 1 or 2 calls, resume is working. And then then that does not mean that you got the job either. The resume is just the first step. The next step would come the interview, and that's where you really have to market yourself.
Mm-hmm. Monica, does this help? Please let us know in the comment section if this addresses the specific concerns that you're dealing with. And just to add a little to what you said, Cheryl, a lot of large organizations use like applicant tracking systems that filter out resumes. So if you're not getting any calls back, your resume is not making it past that first screening. And it goes back to what you have said, like, what does your resume look like? Has your resume been curated to the Canadian template? When you see a job that you're interested in, it is okay for you to repeat similar language in the job posting in your resume, because what happens is, how these applicant tracking systems work is they feed the systems with buzzwords, particular words from the job posting, to say this is what you should be looking out for in resumes. And if those words are not in the resumes, it filters them out because it automatically assumes that they're not qualified for the roles. So if you see a job posting that says we're looking for IT developer and you must have experience in XYZ, it is okay if that's experience you have and it's a job that you are qualified for. It is okay for you to repeat the same language and say, I am proficient in XYZ, because chances are XYZ is one of the buzzwords that the applicant tracking systems are going to be filtering for. So if you have those similar words in your resume, then it helps you cross that initial stage. What you want is for your resume to get to the hands of the recruiters, where they're actually, somebody is physically looking at them. So for large organizations that get hundreds of applications, if you don't go through that initial screening, then the recruiters are not even seeing your application. So that's something to look out for. You have to look at your resume again, like, what's going on? Are you adequately reflecting yourself? If you have 10 years experience in a certain area, and you're applying for jobs that are looking for 3 to 4 years experience, maybe it's not in your best interest to declare 10 years experience. You want to be declaring the experience that is relevant to the role that you're applying for. So if you have only 4 years experience in that particular role, it's not necessary for you to declare the other 6 years that you have in other areas, right? So again, it comes down to the resume, being able to know how to curate your resume for each job posting, which means you can't have one resume that you're using to apply for everything. It won't work. Searching for jobs is a job in itself. So you
It
want to put
is.
attention to that and make sure that you're intentional in the kind of applications you're putting forth. If you do it like that, you are definitely going to get calls back. I can tell you that for free. Okay.
Absolutely. And I would even add another tip to that, Marina. A little tip that I picked up recently from a recruiter, looking at those keywords in a resume. sometimes well, we know that resumes are 2 pages long. That's the maximum that they usually say. But if
Mhm.
you send a third page and it looks blank to the eye, but on the third page you put all those keywords on it and you put it in white print, it looks like a blank paper, but it also has those keywords on it. If that tracking system picks up that on your resume, you're good to go. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, well, that means you're going to do a lot of work when the resume then gets into the hand of a recruiter.
It's work that you need to do. Finding, like you said, finding a job is a full-time job.
Mhm.
But it's also, if you know these little tips of the trade, adding that third page with all the tracking words on it, words that you may not be able to incorporate in your resume, but the page looks blank to the eye, but it is in white print. The tracking system will pick
We'll
it up.
pick it up. That's true. That's true. So there was one other question that came in. Are there specific careers that can benefit from this program, or anyone can benefit from it?
Anyone can benefit from it. We do regulated and non-regulated occupations, so it's open to everyone that is looking to upgrade their professional accreditations here in Canada.
Sure. Do you find that you get do people from outside of Canada who haven't landed yet? Do you get contacted by people like that? Is there any information available? Because this person is asking about what it takes to find a job from outside Canada as a PR applicant, right? That's why I'm picking this. Like for somebody who's already in process, but they haven't landed yet, or they have reached a certain stage in the immigration process. Is there any information that Career Loans has or Achieve has available for candidates like this?
Absolutely. And the thing about it's about this pre-arrival. So I admire this person who is actually looking into this, because it shows that they are aware that they need to do some research and find out. We get clients like that all the time that are pre-arrival. The first thing to do, we cannot do anything for those clients as yet, because they must be residing in Saskatchewan and Alberta. So as far as accessing our loan or our services, you need to be in Saskatchewan, Alberta, living. But what I would encourage them to do once they land and they get settled and adapted, to reach out to us. We are available for them.
Okay. I'm just checking to make sure I'm not missing any other comments. Guys, if you have any more questions, please you can put them in the comment section as Cheryl and I begin to wrap this conversation up. So Cheryl, I wanted to you did mention when you were talking about the services that this program offers about a microloan. Do you want to tell us a little more about that? Like, what would you consider the benefits of using a microloan?
Well, the microloan is just like a bank loan. However, it's not like a bank loan. What we do is you have an opportunity to access the maximum $15,000 and the minimum about $1,500 towards your career training or upgrading or membership or whatever it is that you need to do. Like a bank loan, it is, once the money is dispersed, you are required to start paying it back within 30 days of disbursement. Unlike a bank loan, we are not at market rate. So there's an interest rate to the loan as well. However, it's not at market rate. And at market rate, it's usually the interest rates, the interest is variable. It fluctuates up and down. With our microloan, we are at a fixed interest rate, and that interest rate never changes once you have accessed that loan. It is fixed. It is at the bank's lowest, at the bank's prime plus 2. Right now, currently, November 27, 2021, it is at 4.45%. So that would mean that, say, for example, you were requesting to get a microloan of $5,000. So that would be 4.45% up on top of the $5,000 to be repaid. Repayment, like I said, starts 30 days after the disbursement, and you have a maximum, depending on how much you borrow, of 4 years for repayment. The benefit of that, compared to something like a student loan some people may ask about is the fact that with student loans, you get an opportunity to go to school and then finish your schooling and then come out. But you're leaving school with a big debt.
Absolutely.
You're leaving school with a big debt. And from someone, take it from someone who have accessed that, gone that avenue several times over, you actually have debt for many, many years because it is at market value and the interest rate varies and situation changes. That's why we have so many Canadians with student debt after 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The benefit of the microloan is that once you access the loan and you start repaying, it helps you build that financial habit of paying back. You get that discipline of actually managing your finances in a better way. And the thing about that is once you graduate, you are leaving, you're investing in yourself. You will leave with a higher potential of pay because now you're ready to make money, but you don't have the debt. So you are free. And you also have the discipline and the habit of how to manage yourself financially. That's a big part here in Canada. Um, Financial literacy,
True. So
right?
true. Yeah.
And so when you develop those discipline, it makes life a lot easier dealing with everything else that comes to you financially. And you're ready to make money.
Yeah. So do if people are going to have to start to pay the loans back immediately, do they have the option of maybe negotiating what they start to pay? Maybe start with interest first and then add on the principal when there's a source of income for them. So I'm trying to understand like what options are available for people when it comes to the repayments. Like do they have options like that to make it a little more manageable for them to pay? Even if I think the interest rate is very fair on the amounts that they're borrowing, but is that option available?
That's a great question, Marina. Unfortunately, it is a bank loan. So the only option that we can do as counselors, when we have our client, what we try to do is we actually gather all of the information for the application with our client. So the client never has to have to communicate or exchange anything with the bank until the
Oh,
final stage,
that's great.
right?
Take off that pressure from them.
That's less pressure from them, and
Mhm.
everything is done virtually. So as a client of career loans and you're accessing this microloan, we collect all this individual information. We verify all the information, we put the documents together, and an added service to that, we actually craft a letter of recommendation on our client's behalf. So in the relationship that we build with our client, we get to know their um the level of repayment that they want to do. And we can craft that into our letter of recommendation for our client because we don't want to create any undue hardship for our clients,
Yeah.
right? We want to make it as easy as possible for them to access the loan and be able to finish their education or their upgrading or training, and it's manageable for them. So we encourage through conversation, we encourage them, this is what you can do. How about this? And so on. So we negotiate it from that end, and then we pass it on. And then we would craft all of that in our recommendation letter. But then what I try to do is empower my clients to speak up for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because after we get all that information, when put it off, we send it off to the bank managers, and then they will assign a financial advisor for our client. So our client does not go in blindly. And with our program, that's what we pride ourselves on doing. We send clients to warm connections, not cold connections. So we try to um, collaborate and work with many um, regulatory bodies and employers that are in Saskatchewan and Alberta, so we can refer our clients to warm connections. So
Oh, great.
back to the application, we send it to the bank manager who then assigns an individual financial advisor to our client. And then we then do an e-introduction. We send off the package to that financial advisor and then do an e-introduction. Then our client have know who they're going to, who they're going to talk to, and then the process starts there.
Wow, that's so nice. Like the financial literacy part, I think is a big deal. Like just knowing that I'm getting this on the side, and then I have a financial professional assigned to me that I can ask questions. That's really good.
Yeah.
I can totally relate to a lot of the things you said about coming out of school with really big debt for the people like the student loan options. It takes you, yeah, they give you the time, you have the leverage to finish the program before you start paying back. But I don't know how to stay in debt. I just don't know. As in, that's how I was raised. Like, if you can't afford it, defer it. But I mean, they say student loan is good debt, right?
It is
So
good
when you
debt.
think about how many years you're in that cycle of just working and paying back, as somebody who has been a recipient of a microloan in the past, I can tell you for free, like it took me what, maybe 2 years or less to pay off the loan. And it does take a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of discipline to be able to faithfully pay back that money as at when it's due. I think for me, continue that stuck with me. Just knowing that if I'm going to commit to something like this for whatever reason, I am going to have to be disciplined enough to stay on track to get it paid off. And when I paid it off, it was one of the most fulfilling, one of the most liberating feelings ever. Just knowing that this thing I started from the beginning, I was able to stick with it, and now I am debt free from any form of educational loan. So that's something for people to take note of. Like, just keep the debt duration as short as possible. Take what you need, be disciplined, and pay it off. Like that feeling, like very unrivaled. Like I'm talking about it now, and I'm
Are you
remembering
getting
the
chills?
day, right?
Yes.
Like the day
Yes.
the last payment came out of my account. I'm like, oh my God, I want to break down. It's like it felt really good. So this is something for people to pay attention to. Another question came in that I wanted you to speak a bit about. Would there be job placements available for applicants such that they're able to pay off the loans while they are working and studying?
Job placement, no, we don't do job placement per se, but what part of that eligibility for the loan is that the person has to be working as well or have family income coming in. So they have to be eligible for the program, there need to be some sort of income that are coming in. And we're flexible. We will take we will actually acknowledge if it's a family unit, if the husband's working or the wife is working, we can take that into consideration as well as income coming into the family. And also we can use your child taxes as income as well. So part of the eligibility for this program is that you need to have some income. As far as job placing is concerned, we don't do job placement, but we can refer you to organizations that we collaborate with, that we have partnered with, that can support you in your in job.
Okay. And just to clarify, so the financial portion of the help that you offer is one part. There's also the career exploration part. So you would have gone through the career exploration, go through the career advice so that you're able to find a job on your own, right? And
With
then
support.
if it is necessary for you to get additional training to go through like a licensing process and you need financial help for that, then you can access the microloan. So it's not the microloan before you work. It is you have a job, you have gone through the counseling, they've clarified what could be wrong with why you're not getting calls back from employers, and then you are able to find a job on the side. These loans are for people who are already working because it's a loan. If you're going to be paying back, you have to have a source of income to pay back a loan. So it's I mean it's the same thing with loans generally. Nobody's going to give you a loan if they don't know that you have the capacity to pay back, right?
That's
So
right.
so that's a good way to think about it. You have gone through the career exploration, career counseling, you're working, but you need additional, then you are eligible to get this loan. Did I explain that right, Cheryl?
Well said, Marina. Well said.
So I'm trying to look for questions that are related to the conversation that we're having, just so we don't sway this um, beyond what it should be. Guys, if you have any questions that question that is related to the conversation at hand, because I'm seeing a couple of questions that are immigration related, and that's not what the conversation is about. Cheryl is a career counselor, not an immigration consultant. Neither am I. So please, let's just let's just ask the question that both of us will be able to answer today. Okay, so I don't see any other questions coming in. Cheryl, so what would you say? What would your last words be? Like, if you were going to give advice to somebody who's new, somebody who's looking to land soon, general advice, like what is that thing that you think everybody should know beyond doing the research and beyond just taking some time to get to know your community? Is there any other advice you'd like to share with the people who are on this session today?
I would just like to encourage everyone just to be open-minded, and also to be curious, not to really look at themselves. Like, we're also self-conscious of, are you going to be interrupting people, or are you going to be disturbing them? In Canada, when you are seeking stuff, don't regulate yourself. Be open, network, talk to the people at the bus stop, share, network, volunteering is a great place to start, but not to be too shy about communicating with people out there and getting used to the diversity here in our country. It is vast. Everyone is welcoming to help, and just to gather as much information, not to regulate yourself with just one program or one service. I tell individuals that you need to spread a wide net,
Mhm.
a wide net to gather. Something may happen by accident, and couple of weeks or couple of months later, that person is connecting you and you're like, oh, I forgot about that. But spread a wide net so you can get as much support and educate yourself, obviously, about the different funding programs, the different services that are around, and get familiar with your community.
Absolutely, such valuable advice. So a couple of people just joined. If you're just joining us, you've missed a lot. But thankfully, the replay is going to be on my channel. When we get off the live session, then you'll be able to access the replay. So you can go and watch from beginning and just get all the information that has been shared. The program that Cheryl is talking about is currently available in Alberta and Saskatchewan. I see a question asking about PEI. I don't believe. Do you have anything in PEI at the moment?
Our
That's
program is no, it's not in PEI, but I would encourage whoever asked that question, go to their local service community, and then they will be able to direct you to some
exactly.
similar.
They'll be able to direct you to what the equivalent would be for PEI. So how can people find you, Cheryl? So I am a newcomer. I'm eligible for this. I'm in Saskatchewan. I'm in Alberta, and I'm looking to contact you. Where can people find you?
So people, our website is pretty simple. It's careerloans.ca. And once they log on there is a fountain of information on our website. And then you can register with us and we will contact you and start the conversation. For me directly, my email is exactly, Marina. And my email would be my name, C Murray at Achieve. We are governed by Achieve at achieve.ca.
Okay.
And Achieve, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, is spelled with ACHEV. So it's a little different.
Achieve.ca.
Yeah.
Okay, right? I got that right.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just checking there, like, did I embarrass myself? I can't spell, I
No,
promise.
no. So my email address would be Cheryl C Murray at achieve.ca.
Okay. Guys, can I just beg you, if you're going to email Cheryl, please email her about the information that has been shared today. We don't want to bombard our guests with information that's unrelated to what she has talked about today. Out of respect for her time, she has volunteered her time to be here to share this information with us today. So please, please, I beg you guys, because I know I get those emails sometimes from people who just want somebody to answer the question, and it doesn't matter where it goes. I just want an answer. So please, make sure you're emailing Cheryl for issues relating to what we're talking about today. Well, thank you very much, Cheryl, for your time. I totally appreciate you taking the time to have this conversation with us. It is Saturday. You could have been doing any other thing, but you're here sharing such valuable information that I know people have benefited from today. So thank you very much for doing
My
that.
pleasure.
For
My
everyone who was able to join today, thank you very much for joining, for taking out the time to just come and learn. I told you guys that I'll be bringing so many resource people just to share and to give you as much information as you need. How am I doing so far, guys? Rate me. Is it yes or yes? It better not be a no. Well, thank you, everyone. We're going to be ending the broadcast here. Again, thank you very much, Cheryl. Thank you,
My
everyone.
pleasure, Marina. My pleasure. This is new to me, so I'm so over the moon just to meet you and to speak with you and see everyone. Thank you so much.
And you did great. Did you say this was your first time? You sounded like a
Oh
pro.
yeah.
Well,
Live.
thank you so much. And hopefully, sometime in the future, if we have any other conversation around this and we need you to come back, are we trusting that we can get you to come back and have further conversation about this?
I'm ready.
Yay! Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to be ending the broadcast here. I don't have a video for tomorrow, so you guys feel free to enjoy this again tomorrow, and I'll see you guys next Sunday when we post our next video. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have an amazing rest of your day.
Bye, guys.